Welcome back. We are in almost to the end of the month, which is fun. It's clearing up out there after this snowstorm. Still going to be a very, very cold week, which I'm not looking forward to, but here we are. We are living in New York for a lot of us, and I hope there's a lot of other people living warm places. But this idea, I actually really love this concept. I love all the concepts I talk about, but this one is really cool to watch. I've seen a lot of my clients go through this concept, and when you change one thing in your life, you change everything. And it's also been phrased, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And what I see happen, whatever the thing is, from the beginning of this, or even if you're new and joining me and you want to go to the beginning and think of the one thing that you really want to concentrate on primarily for your quote unquote going up the mountain for this year. As you start to change one thing in your life, it has a ripple effect on everything. Not just on everything in terms of your life, but in terms of how other people see you, how energetically other people respond to you. Because in your system, in your current identity, the current place that you're at, there's a whole set of things that happen. There's a whole set of routines that constantly occur. There is a whole set of things you do in this certain identity. When you decide to shift into even one piece, I'm a person that works out. One piece shifts the entire system. The things that you weren't, because the way that you were engaging with that one thing, maybe it was self sabotaging behaviors, maybe it was the negative self talk that you were engaging in, maybe it was, the any sort of limiting beliefs around it or what you're capable of. When you start to work on that one thing and shift the identity of the one thing, it starts to show up. That same pattern of how you were engaging with that thing starts to become evident in other things. I started to see this. So an example of this is when I personally started working on my finances. I went to a financial coach. I started going through all my systems and structures. I started to look at how I was engaging with money, the energetics of money, the different concepts within money, the ways you can set up intentionally, different accounts, etc. I realized that my habit with money was to not have the hard conversation with myself, to kind of, bury my head in the sand and not really address the issue. And that same dynamic was in a lot of different aspects of my life, with my business partnerships, with other people, there was a lot of places and spaces where I was skirting away from the hard conversations and also energetically feeling like I didn't deserve more. And that's why when the one thing starts to shift, the other pieces, that those dynamics, those patterns start to show up in other places. But also, when you shift one thing, you start to recognize what you're really capable of. You start to have those better conversations. You start to fall deeper into a level of self trust. You start to honor yourself more with your commitments because you're doing it so powerfully in one aspect of your life that it starts to be like, well, if I'm showing up so well here, I might as well show up really awesome here, or I might think about shifting that. So what I would often see with, what I often see with clients is that when like they would come in and they'd want to work. A lot of people come to work with me based on their businesses or their work in the world or those sort of directions. Because I've talked a lot about about business, and in the past a lot more about business content. But they would come in and they would start to work on their business, or they'd work on their concepts around what work they can have or what work they can do or how they want to shift that or what they really want for their life. And every single one of them started going to the gym more or signing up for new classes or focusing on that aspect of their life without a conversation with me. They would just show up and they'd be like, yeah, I've decided to go to the gym more. I've been showing up, or I hired a personal trainer, or I have been, going to this yoga class. It's because they started to show up for themselves in one place. And once you start feeling that, once you start knowing that you're capable of it, it just trickles down. And then the other effect of it is that when you change that one thing, the other people around you, most of them not even knowing, subconsciously, they don't even know that something's shifting like this in your life. In the initial phases, right? People start to interact with you different because you are on a different frequency. If you were part of the conversation where I was talking about shame associated with trying, where you are constantly trying to push yourself up this hill, I'm trying to be a better person, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, and the shame associated with not being able to, or failing, or missing out on those things, and the energetic vibration is so low in that space, then when you start to be in the more positive mode, you're proud of yourself, you're encouraged, you're joyful, you're happy, you're the dogs are at it again. You're in that space of a higher vibration energetically and emotions. Come here. Come here. Then those things people start to get attracted to differently. They don't know that you've started working on your business behind the scenes necessarily, but they feel that energetic connection with you in a different way. And sometimes people that are no longer resonant with you fall away. New opportunities happen, new doors open up. So that's why that's why I've encouraged you to concentrate on whatever your mountain change, whatever that big identity shift that you're going after this year, because trust and believe that a lot of other small things, small places, or medium-sized things, spaces will shift no matter what. As long as you're working on shifting yourself day by day by day by day. That's why I've said when I got into this, I didn't even know where it was going to lead me entirely. I have no concept of the entirety of the end game of this. Do I have concepts of where I'm going along this path thus far? Absolutely. I've put offers out there. I currently have one that I've talked to you about and will remind you at the end of this, but it's that as I shift in real time in this business, in the way that I'm showing up, in how I'm showing up for myself, and me trusting myself to show up on this live stream every single day, other parts of my life gets examined, just as other parts of your life gets examined. And that's where I love doing this work and being able to have an eye on what's happening for people, because sometimes we don't recognize our own patterns, like I was talking about in the example of money, right? We could just say that we're working. This is the be, do, have conversation. I don't know why I was forgetting what the 3 words, be, do, have, right? The doing. If I had just exclusively gone into trying to learn more about money and just put some accounts together without looking at some of the energetics and patterns underneath that with my coach, some of those things would have never been discovered. I would have put some new accounts. I would have started a retirement account. I would have done XYZ to look like the pinnacle of financial health without actually shifting what was the reason why beliefs, whatever beliefs were underneath it, but also energetically what was underneath it. And that's what's so cool about this work, is because as I've seen my clients bring their one thing in that they think is the thing that they are going to be working on, they end up I end up having an eye on all these other things that are happening, on different aspects and how they all connect together. Because sometimes having somebody else's eye on your life can help pieces and dots connect that you didn't even know were there to connect. So within this, I'm encouraging you to continue to work on your one thing every day, consistently, from the space of the person that already has it, from the end game, from that person that you know, because you are the person that has it. You are a person that puts a different identity dress on, but it's still you. And also to consider my 1+9 offer. 1+9 is you, the one person that is at the center of changing your life, plus 9 weeks with me in this closed container, one-on-one, where I get to have an eye on what you're doing, how you're doing it, what the energy is, what the limiting beliefs are, anything that is, can be seen and understood to help you move through that to that future version of yourself, present day. But the I am, that next level shift. And when you work in a container together with a coach, with me, you get to actually compress the time it would take you to get there on your own. That's the magic of working with people like coaches, therapists, right? Mentors, all of it is it helps compress the time because people can have an eye on those aspects of what's going on, but also move you through faster because I've done it with other people, I've done it with myself, I'm consistently in that space. And it's like going to the expert on how to make these shifts versus trying to do the research all by yourself. I've been studying personal development since I was pretty much a teenager, but deeply started in my 20s and I'm now in my 40s. So 20 plus years of eyes on personal development and these concepts. So that's linked below. And I will see you tomorrow for another cool concept, because apparently I introduce all these videos telling you what great concepts they are because I legitimately love this. I think it's the coolest thing that we can change one part of our lives and it trickles down and affects every other part. It affects who we're around. It affects who we're talking to. It affects what doors open. It affects how we see ourselves. It affects how we take care of ourselves. It literally expands our lives in ways that we could not even comprehend when we start it. So much love to you. I hope you have a beautiful day.